Hi everybody, it's Julie with Reflections Framing and Stitching. How are you today? Welcome to my channel. This is a channel about mostly cross stitch with sometimes some antique finds thrown in and some decorating thrown in. But I usually put that at the end, so if you're not interested, you don't have to watch it. Anyway, today, what I'm recording this morning anyway is going to be mostly cross stitch with a little bit of chitter chatter thrown into there. I am recovering from a very nasty virus, so I may sound a little nasally at times, and I do have a horrible cough yet, so I may have to pause this to cough crap up out of my lungs. Hopefully it won't happen too long. Mornings seem to be better than afternoons and evenings. Nighttime is horrible. Dan just sits there and cringes because I cough about every minute and a half. So anyway, how are you? What are you doing? What are you up to? What are you stitching on? How was your weekend? All the questions. I have all the questions. Weekend was spent coughing and sitting in my chair, doing some stitching, doing some ripping out. I am having a terrible time lately counting and reading symbols correctly. So I am spending a significant portion of my time that I could be stitching ripping stitches out. So I don't know. Is anyone else having that problem? I don't know what it is, but I've been doing a lot of it, and I'm not sure why. So other than that, not much going on. I didn't record anything last weekend. We had a somewhat busy weekend. We had the girls' dance recital a week ago Friday, this past Friday. So we were there that evening. Saturday was a stitching day at the shop, and it was a busy day at the shop. I don't think I sat down the entire day, maybe to check someone out on the cash register, but otherwise I was pretty much at the cutting table the entire day. And even though we close at 2, I was still cutting fabric at 4. So not complaining. That's a good thing. That means we can pay the rent. So I'm not complaining, just saying it was a very busy day. Got home and I kind of had a feeling that I was getting sick at that point, because I was just, it felt like I was walking through mud. Everything just felt heavy. And then I woke up Sunday morning with a sore throat. And I was hoping it was just going to be allergies, but it turned out that it was not. Sunday night we went to a concert that Emily was singing in. So it was a Disney concert. So we went to that. And I definitely knew I was sick then. And then Monday was bad, Tuesday was bad, Wednesday was bad. Thursday I went to work. Friday I went to work, Saturday I went to work. Yesterday I sat in my chair all day. So that I have nothing really exciting to talk about. I did get some stitching done, but like I said, I also ripped out a ton of stuff. But we'll get to that later. I think I'll just show you what I've stitched, what I've accomplished, what I have not accomplished, and we'll go from there. How does that sound? So the first thing I need to show you is I finished Hawk Run Hollow. I finished it May 31st, so I met my internal goal of having it done by the end of May. Until today, when I happened to notice I missed 2 little back stitches that I've got to go back and put in. But for the sake of this video, we're gonna call it done. I have had a request to kind of go over the changes that I maybe made, um, and maybe why I did what I did. Um, so I'm gonna try and remember the changes. I didn't make as many changes as what I wish I would have. But okay, so this was 8 years and 5 months in the making. And when I started it, you know, that was 8 years ago, and it was a stitch along, and I wasn't thinking about personalizing it in any way, shape, or form. Um, but as I went, I started thinking about different things. So the first change that I knew I was going to make before I even started was the moving the position of the cemetery. It was right next to the school in the bottom row, and I personally didn't like the idea of having a cemetery right next to a school. Cemeteries can be scary for some people, not for me. I have always been fascinated by cemeteries, and I love to read headstones. I have a really good friend. Her name is Barb, and she's involved with the Find a Grave. I don't know what you want to call it. It's not really a business, but she's involved with Find a Grave. So she spends a lot of time in cemeteries searching for graves and headstones for people who are looking for where their people are buried. And I find that fascinating, and I think it's wonderful that she's providing that service. In fact, she was helpful in. I have an antique sampler, and she was able to contact someone. I knew what cemetery the little girl who stitched the sampler was buried in over in England, and I was hoping to get a picture of her headstone. But it turns out that if she ever had one, it's sunk into the ground, and they can't get a picture of it. But they did take a picture of where she is. But Barb was instrumental in helping me get that information. So you look it up if you've not ever heard of it before. So that was the first change that I made. And what I ended up doing was I moved. It's a big piece. So I moved the schoolhouse to the top row. And the church that was originally, let's see. Yeah, I moved the schoolhouse. Can you see that? I moved the schoolhouse to the first row. I bumped the city hall to the middle because originally the church was up here, I believe, in the middle, and the town hall was in this corner. So town hall got moved over, schoolhouse came up here, and the church went down to the bottom row next to the cemetery, which was, hold on, the cemetery, which was in this lower corner over here, and its background was filled in black, and I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that it was the only background that was filled in, and I wasn't about to fill in all the other backgrounds. No way, Jose. So I deliberately left my background not stitched. So it's a cemetery in the daylight. And put it next to the church, which leads me to my next change. When I got to the church, it was the Reverend Isaiah Cook, and I didn't want the Reverend Isaiah Cook, so I decided to put in the name of the priest that married Dan and I, which was Father Foster, and I added these two little gold, can you see them? Diamondy things on either end to kind of fill up the space. And I'm wishing, but I'm not going back to change it now. I am wishing I had changed this to the church that we actually got married in. But at the time, I don't know what I was thinking. Because we got married at St. Gerald's Church. Um, but I knew I couldn't fit St. Gerald's Church in there. I should have just, had I been thinking clearly at the time, I should have just put St. Gerald's. We don't really need church in there, but I wasn't thinking, so I left it at St. Peter's, and I don't intend to change it. I could rip that all out, but quite frankly, I don't feel strongly enough about it to rip it out. So just a little helpful hint. If you're going to stitch this and you're thinking about maybe personalizing it, plan ahead. Think it out before you start on the block. I think by the time I got down to that block, I just was ready to be done. So I didn't clearly think it out. The other change that I made was to the gristmill. This is supposed to say Jacob's gristmill, but I changed it to Dan's gristmill. And this was the last block I did, and I did that deliberately because it was my favorite block of the entire thing, and I figured that when I got to this point, I'd be ready to get done, and it being my favorite, it wouldn't be so much a struggle, a chore to get it finished, because I wanted to see what that block was like when it was all stitched. So that being said, the only other change I wish I had made was maybe to change Opal's boarding house for Julie's boarding house. But again, I'm not going back and changing it. It's fine. So now I'm going to show you the entire thing. Otherwise, I didn't make any other changes. Those were the only positioning things that I did, and the only word changes that I made. So here it is in all its glory. I'm just going to kind of slowly scroll up. I can't see you once you're behind my head's behind here, so I don't know. Can you see it all? There you go. I can't get it all at once, but so that is what 8 years and 5 months of stitching looks like. But keep in mind that I did not work on it. Sometimes a whole year would go by before I would finish it, but it's finished. I knew I would finish it because I loved it so much. I just would get tired of it, and I would put it away. So anyway, that's Hawk Run. It is done. Will I ever do another Hawk Run? I don't know if I would or not. If I did, it would probably be Christmas at Hawk Run, because I think that one's beautiful too. But I don't know. I'm old, and there are so many other pieces that I would like to get done, like that I've started that I would like to get done. So the chances of my doing another Hawk Run are probably slim to none. Although I would like to think I could. We'll see. Anyway, so the next thing I would like to talk about would be and I did not bring up a picture of it. I don't have my print. I don't know where it went. It's around here somewhere. But I don't think it's in the bird bag. A group of us are doing a stitch along for the Lola Crow's Extraordinary Birds Mystery Stitch Along thing. And we got started, like 6 months or 6 weeks later than everyone else. But we are doing that stitch along, and I was going along quite nicely, I might add. And then I discovered that clear back in the beginning, I'm going to see if I can bring up a picture of it. But I don't have my glasses on, so I can't really see what I'm doing. But let me see if I can find a quick picture. No, that's cute. No, I don't have a, you can look it up. Extraordinary Bird Sal. You can look it up. I, of course, am doing something a little different. I'm using a dark fabric, which she did not recommend, but it is what it is. I think it's going to work out fine. I am loving it myself. It looks, this is being stitched on 36 count Sequoia from Atomic Ranch. I did give myself a 4-inch border all the way around so that the stitching was actually going to be in the lighter portion of the piece, which it does need to be in a lighter portion because there's a significant amount of black, and I don't think it would show in the darker areas. So the sad part about this one is I had the top portion. I'm going to have to go find it. But I'll tell you what, I had the top portion almost done, completed. And then I just needed to bring the cage, the aviary down and do the bottom portion of it before I could start popping in the new birds. But I got over to the one side and it wasn't matching up, and I figured out that my mistake was clear back almost to the very beginning. And so I had to spend 2 days ripping out. So I haven't got it all back in yet, but I have a good portion of it back in. So here is where I am at. It is a beautiful piece. I love the colors. And I don't know if it's showing up quite as well as I would hope, but there you go, a little bit closer. So I am enjoying the stitching on this. The part I had to take out was, I could leave this outside portions, but everything in between that had to come out all the way up to. My mistake was up here clear at the top. I was 1 stitch too far to the left. And since it was a mystery stitch, I was afraid it was going to affect things. And so I didn't want to even wrap my head around trying to fudge it. So I removed everything. And that was a lot of stitching I removed. And I haven't got it all back yet. So, but I'm close. I am close. Another couple nights of stitching, and it should be back to where it was, but not to where it should be. But anyway, I'll try and pop a picture of it in. But I am going to have to stop this for right now. I have to take Katie to get her haircut. So I will come back to this later this afternoon. Thanks. Okay, I am back from taking Kate to her hair appointment. I visited with Melanie for a while. I went to the urgent care. I now have 4 prescriptions to pick up. So I have about an hour before my nail appointment. So I think I will finish this up before then if I run out of things to say. If I don't, I'll record after I get home. So I had just finished up showing you the extraordinary birds and my sad, sad tale of woe. about having to rip everything out. And so next up, it's another bird. This is the, drawing a blank now, spring songbird, I think, from Nolu off of Etsy. And I did have a question from someone regarding what the fabric is that I'm using and the floss. And I am using the called for DMCs, and the fabric is 40 count. It's vanilla cream, but I can't remember if it was Atomic Ranch or if it was Atomic Ranch or I think it was Atomic Ranch, but it could have been Mystic fabric. I can't remember who it was, and I didn't write it down, so sorry. I could go right to it on my shelf at work, so if you decide you need a piece of it, I can go right to it. But anyway, this is the progress that I have made. I worked on it a little bit in the car while I was waiting for Kate to come out. So I didn't take my cough into the beauty salon with her. I didn't think people would want to hear me hacking up a lung. So this is what I've got done. I finished up the pink flower and brought the body down a little further. So it's awfully cute, if I do say so myself, which I can say because I didn't design it. I'm just following directions. So I can say this is awfully cute, and I am anxious to see it finished. I think I mentioned in the last video that I have a finishing idea in my head. I don't know. She's got a winter one too. So far I haven't seen a summer or an autumn, but I'm hoping she'll have all four. And then I'll decide for sure. I might try and message her or him, I don't know, and see if there are plans to do all 4 seasons, and if so, then I can kind of figure out, do I want to frame them all together or do them individually? I'm leaning towards individually, I think. So anyway, it's a fun one to work on because I love the colors, but you do change quite frequently. So just know that ahead of time. But it's all DMC, so it's a good one. It's a good one to stitch. Okay, we covered those 3. The last one I have to show is I've been feeling a hankering to go back to Land That I Love from Teresa Kogut. Looks like this. I had, before I started stitching again, I had this top part done. And then I had just a couple of these strawberries. I had debated whether I wanted to do that strawberry band. It's so fussy that I thought, well, do I really want to do that? I really didn't want to do that. I did not really want to do that, but I started it anyway, so I guess I have to continue since I started it. So I worked on a few more strawberries and some of the green vine stuff, and I'll go back after I get all of that done and put in all these little, I don't know, can you see all the little teeny tiny flower-y things in there? I am working on this on sorry, I'm getting an inhaler for that, and an antibiotic, and some cough syrup, and some of those Tessalon pearls that do diddly squat. So, Yes, I'm working this on 40 count anthracite that I then dipped into a bath of walnut crystals and to kind of dull the color down a little bit and add some aging to it. So this is where I've gotten to, and let me bring that up just a little further. So you can see where so there's my strawberries that I'm working on. Some of them are only half strawberries at the moment. But anyway, this is, and I did do some color changes on mine also because of the fabric. I had to change some of the colors. But I've just been, sometimes you get this overwhelming urge to work on something. And I haven't touched this in over a year. But like I said, the urge has been there. So I actually had Dan, because this is, well, it's convoluted. She's got it in the spiral thing, which, number one, I can't stand. And it's printed on both the front and the back of each page, which I also can't stand. And, like half of the berry band is on, the top half of the berry band is on the top one page, and then you got to flip to get to the bottom half of the berry band, which irritates me. So I asked Dan if he had a big scanner at work, and he said he did. So he took it into work and he scanned it and put it all to he made copies of the pattern, and then he scanned it, or he taped it all together, and then he made a PDF out of it, scanned the whole thing, and then made a PDF out of it. So it is now on my iPad, and which is wonderful. So that I can just stitch now. I don't have to be flipping pages and stuff. That is the most wonderful thing for those of you who aren't stitching from your iPad or your tablet. I didn't think I would ever in a million years want to do that. But I do have to say, on a pattern like this, it's a lifesaver. Absolute lifesaver. So, that is where I'm at on that. I don't know how long I will feel the urge to work on it. I may be done. It may be I go to sit down the next time and I'm like, nah, I'm over it for now. And I move on to something else. I did run across my Mary Thiessen, or my Anna Thiessen, that I had taken to retreat, and looked at that and I'm like, oh gosh, that's so pretty. I should work on that. So who knows? I may decide to work on Anna Thiessen tonight. I'm probably going to work on the birds, the extraordinary birds, so I can get back to where I was, and then continue the process of finishing the aviary, because all these cool birds are coming out now and I'm way behind. And I don't want to be way behind. I want to catch up, which the chances of my catching up are slim to none, but it could happen, right? It's not out of the question. It could happen. Let's see. I wanted to say thank you for all the lovely comments on the hutch from well, by the time you see this video, it will be 2 videos ago. But thank you very much. I appreciate all the lovely compliments. I'm enjoying having it done a little differently. And, one thing always leads to another. So now as I've been sitting in my chair for a week being sick, I've been looking around at the rest of the family room and trying to figure out what else I can tweak. We're going to say tweak, not redo. Just tweak a little bit. I did have a question about that picture right there. I don't know if I can move that just a little bit. It came from Hobby Lobby. It's a print of a Highland cow laying on a green Victorian sofa. And it made me laugh when I saw it the first time, so I brought it home, and I happened to have this big gold frame that was left over from a job I did at work. Lady didn't want the frame anymore, so I made it where it doesn't fit perfectly in there, but it works for what it is. And I bought it when it was 50% off, so it didn't cost me a whole lot. The frame was free. So when I get tired of it, I will take it down. But so far, I'm not tired of it. I'm quite enjoying it. I tend to surround myself with things that bring me joy. And as long as that one makes me smile, I'm going to keep it on the wall. Let's see, what else can I think of? I think that was all the questions. I answered them in the comments. But sometimes people don't go back and read the answers, and I wanted you all to know that I did appreciate the Hutch compliments and the questions I did answer that I saw. So it's not like I get thousands of comments. So I don't know what else. I think that might possibly be it. There's not a whole lot going on. It's summertime, so there's not a whole lot going on at the shop. Trying to clean out, you tend to accumulate things over the years, and this is the third year I've been in this location, so I've been trying to clean out some things, get rid of some things. I am sending my mat cutter back. 99% of the people who come in are framing needlework, and 99% of those people do not want mats on their needlework. So it doesn't make sense to keep the machine when I have to pay over $400 a month for it. So it's more fabric money I can have to buy fabric for the shop. So the machine is going back, and so that'll be a big change because I feel guilty about sending it back. But again, most people don't want mats. I did have a lady come in this week or last week, and she wanted mats on it, and I'm like, sorry, I am out of the matting business. So if you're looking for framing, I am not matting anymore. I'm still framing for now, but I am not matting anymore. And what else can I say about, did I show you my bird bag? I had bird bags made for the stitch along. So I found this wonderful fabric. Wonderful fabric. This is, there's a lot of more birds in the rest of the fabric, but when you cut it up, you don't get all the birds. But I really liked this one, and I like this owl, so this is the one I got. And then I have a green interior on it. So the people that are partaking in the stitch along, I could only find three yards of the fabric, so I was able to have Carla make, I think it was 14 bags. Yeah, I think it was 14 bags. So just kind of a fun thing to have to put your project in. Hey, Reggie. I tortured her yesterday and gave her a haircut. She was looking a little bit rough around the edges. So it was a down and dirty haircut, though, because she can't stand for very long anymore. And it's hard to cut a dog when they're laying down. But I did give her a haircut. She looks a little cooler and a little less raggedy, even though that's her name. I don't necessarily like her to run around looking like a rag doll. And let's see, the other two are doing fine. I get to babysit Louie and Charlie here in another week, I think. We're going to have them for 9 days. So we will have 5 dogs for 9 days. It's a lot of dogs. Anyway, and probably by the time you see this, that will have happened already. So, yeah. All right, I'm going to let you go so I can drink some water. And I might go pick up my medicine before I go to my appointment. And I don't have anything else to show at the end of this one. I don't believe. So, you take care until next time. And happy stitching. Bye-bye.